We are going to make Thai styled or Thai curry sausages. So hopefully you'll enjoy a little bit of a twist on the normal curried sausages that people have been making. I don't like curry powder. I make my own sort of mix of herbs, so I'll show you that today. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so now we've got all the ingredients that we need for the curried sausages, and the first thing I'm going to do is just to mix up the spices, because we'll need those once we start. But firstly I might just turn the cooktop on just to ensure that we have enough heat for our sausages to start cooking. Okay, so these are just a thin beef sausage that we get from the butcher. It's really just beef. They don't put a lot of junk inside the sausage, which is great. Let's first get our herbs together. So the herbs that I use, or the spices I suppose more than herbs, is turmeric, cumin, cinnamon, salt and pepper. As I said in the intro, I don't particularly like, well, I can't stomach coriander, cilantro for those that call it that, but in curry powder there is the coriander seed or the cilantro seed, so that reacts with me. So if you find that you're eating curries and you feel a bit in the stomach afterwards, it may actually be the coriander seed that's affecting you. So basically I like these flavours. They're more a Thai kind of flavour, but I find that it works really well together. So what we're looking for is a teaspoon of turmeric. It's good to put all your spices in together first and into a little bowl and get them mixed up before you cook them. You want a teaspoon of salt and pepper, so I'll just give that a good spin. And same with the pepper. Someone's doing their gardening, which you probably can hear. Half a teaspoon of the cumin. And then a quarter of cinnamon. Okay, so that's all of our spices that we'll be using. Just give that a mix up. And you can see that we now have, you know, some nice spices, and it smells absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we'll just pop that over near where the sausages are. So our cooktop's been on whilst we've mixed the spices, and I'm just going to throw the sausages on. So the first step that we do is actually cook our sausages through. So just cook them for 5 minutes on each turn, and there is 4 turns to a sausage. Okay, so we'll let those cook away. Okay, so our sausages are getting closer. Just whilst I wait for that, I will chop up the spring onions. You could use any onion that you prefer. I prefer a spring onion. I'm not overly fussed with onion, but I do believe you need some sort of onion in your food to give it a bit of flavour. So just roughly chop that up. And I will actually be making some cauli rice to go with the sausages. So I'll prepare that. Just give these sausages their last turn. The sausages have really started to brown up. Okay, so now we'll get the cauliflower ready. Now, there are so many different ways that you can do cauli rice. As you would all know by now if you've watched my videos, I do prefer to try and make things as easy as possible. So one, you're not using 1,000 things in your kitchen, and two, it's just easy, because if it's easy, people will do it. So I literally, especially when it's in, when I mix the cauliflower in to perform as a rice into a dish such as this, I will pop it into the food processor before I cook it, and instead of steaming it and then having it on the side, I just lump it all into one, because this is a one bowl dish. You just eat it in a bowl, so why make it complicated? I do want a kind of rice texture, so I don't want big hunks of cauliflower. That just would be not very nice. So we just pop that in. And this will just be a bit noisy for a minute while I process it. Now, as you'll see, that's now, you know, similar to a rice texture. Now, if you just wanted to do it on its own, you would steam it first. My preference is to steam it first, it makes less mess, and then pop it in the processor and you've got your cauli rice. So I'll just leave that off to the side now, and we need to get our sausages off the pan and cut them up and just pop them on a plate whilst we make the sauce. So we've got our sausages all cooked. I'm just going to leave those off to the side and we'll start making the sauce. Now the sauce is pretty easy. All we need to do is cook the onion. So just in the same pan as the sausages, because you want the flavour. You want a clove of garlic. Now I put in, to activate those, spices. Oh, it smells delightful. Yum. Just a dash of avocado oil, and that's just really to help the spices not stick too much as they cook through, or to start releasing their flavour. You don't need to cook that long, we're talking just a few minutes. Add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. So we have a cup of stock. It's beef stock. We'll just mix that around, get those flavours mixed through. Just going to leave that on the low heat. We'll just chop up our sausages. So it's best to just cut them into mouth like bite-sized pieces. And just before I go any further, I'm going to pop this in so we can get this cooked in the flavour. So that's the cauli rice. I'll just steam those. I don't want to lose the flavour or the moisture whilst we cut up the sausages. You can get this done quicker than ordering your favourite takeaway. So I suggest always that it's funny because you think takeaway is going to be quicker because you're tired, but in actual fact by the time you think about what you want to eat, order it, either pick it up or get it delivered, by the time that all happens you could have cooked, you know, a meal such as this. You know, takeaway has its place, but it's just when you're trying to eat well or eat, you know, a lazy keto style, it just makes it more difficult to get anything that's got that low carb, where you've got to remove the bun or there's something high sugars in the sauces. So I just end up preferring to cook, getting a much more flavoursome meal. Filling, and I know that I've, you know, sort of everything that I've put in my body, but each to their own. So once we've chopped these sausages up, we'll pop them back in to the sauce. Now with this recipe it calls for cream or coconut cream, whatever cream you prefer. I actually prefer coconut cream because it is the Thai flavours rather than like a traditional sort of curry. Cream though, you need to mix it at the end, not whilst you're putting all the other flavours together. Otherwise it just tends to curdle a bit. So from here we'll actually pop all these sausages. So that was about, I think it was 10 sausages. So you know, this will feed us for a number of days. It's also, you can pop it in the freezer. So it's a good one to make extra, and then you've got the ability to pop it into meals. As I said, it's a one dish, so you can put it into one container. Then you can take that for lunch the next day, or you know, have it for a dinner another day. Just makes it, again, the goal is easy and healthy. So I'll just give that a mix. As you can see, there's a lot of juices in the pan. This is where I'll add the coconut milk. This one is the best I've found in our supermarket, which is the premium coconut milk. And also with the coconut milk you can freeze that to use it, because I've only used half a can with that. So I'll pop that in a container and whack it in the freezer for another day. So we'll just give this a really good mix through now. Now if you don't like cauli rice or cauliflower, you can leave it out and just do a different side dish. I am also going to take a leaf out of Aussie Keto Queens the curried sausages and pops the spinach in. I actually put a little bit of spinach and a little bit of baby kale in. It just gives it a bit of a different texture into mine. So just find then you've got sort of, you know, your 3 vegetables, your meat, and a sugar-free sauce. So I'll come back to you in about 5 to 7 minutes once that is simmered through. I want to just make sure that the cauliflower is cooked. I've just spent that last 5 5 minutes or so just cleaning up my mess, and now it's time to add the greenery in. As you can see, that's really become quite creamy and it smells beautiful. It's got that real Thai sort of flavour smell to it. Just going to add a couple of handfuls of the spinach. This is just the baby spinach that we get here. And we can now get this baby kale, which is much nicer than the other sort of bigger kale. This kale is soft and salad-like rather than the hard kale that you get, the older kale. Just pop that in. And we just want this to wilt, really. It's just so we get some greens in our life. Nothing nothing too onerous. Right, so that's been a few minutes. Our greens have now just wilted slightly. And the meal's ready. And it's really as simple as dishing up as much or as little as you would like to eat. And there we have it, our curried sausages with cauli rice included and some wilted spinach and baby kale. Bon appetit.